Thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Zach Schiffman. I work in the e-learning support services office out of the library. We support everything Canvas and any of the tools within Canvas, any of the external tools, LTIs, things like that. We're the ones for assistance with that. I will share my screen here. We will get started. Make sure I don't have any student information. Okay. Okay. Right, here we are. That have some room. All right, again, so yes, I started with mentioning e-learning support, how we handle Canvas. So I always like to kind of start with where to find our information. And for us, we can be easily reached by email at canvas@american.edu. But we also have, if you click on help over here, we have that information a couple more places as well. So chat with Canvas support hotline for faculty and students. That is going to be the global Canvas support. That is one of 9, 10, 11, something like that offices internationally. I used to work at Canvas. I used to have the whole list memorized and I forgot most of them, but all over internationally, if you hear an accent and you call them, don't be surprised. There are a lot of international offices, Australia, Southeast Asia, South America, all over. Budapest also is another great office that we have a lot of technicians with who are fantastic. Or I say they, I don't work there anymore. I do work for AU also, to get that clear. But yes, over here, this is how you access the global Canvas support. So the difference between them and us, essentially, they are outside of AU, we are inside AU. So they can answer any sort of general questions about Canvas. They can pull up your course, say, confirm they are 24/7 again. So, 6 a.m. before an 8 a.m. exam, something like that. We're not available at that time yet, that kind of thing. You can reach out to the Canvas support faculty hotline. You can also you can also give them the faculty number. It goes to the same place. Faculty just get a little bit higher in the queue than students do, just because faculty issues tend to affect more students, whereas student issue is usually just that one student. So it's kind of a numbers game. So you can tell students to call the faculty number. So when you get through to them, they can answer sort of questions, I'm going to my quiz, I'm seeing this error. Is it me? Is it Canvas? Things like that. What they won't be able to do is make actual changes to that. I should say they can make actual changes, but it's going to be a whole thing. They're going to need to send you an email, send an email to our CSM, the person who handles our account with Canvas, the company, things like that. So it's a whole big thing for them to publish an assignment, things like that. Whereas if you reach out to us, hey, I'm having trouble with my computer, I can't get into Canvas, I just have this quiz, it's starting in 10 minutes, could you publish it for me? Absolutely, we can publish it for you. Keep an eye on it, make sure students are getting in, things like that. Make sure everyone finishes up, and then later meet up, schedule some time to go, this is what happened. There was an issue here. We resolved that. You'll be able to get in now. If that happens again, same thing, call us. We can do that same kind of thing. So that's kind of the difference with us, from us to them. We are kind of, business hours-ish, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. However, I do work remotely from Chicago. I usually stick around a little bit later after 5 p.m. Eastern, just because it's still early here and I got nothing to do really. So yeah, there is that kind of a little bit of a wider team or access for our team. I should say team, it's just two of us. So that also around August, December, January, start of terms, end of terms, things like that, when we're a little bit busier. Always shoot us an email. It goes automatically to or it goes to our automatic ticketing system. You'll get a reply. Hey, here's your case number, blah, blah, blah. We'll reply as soon as possible. Our phone number, absolutely, you can give us a call. But again, there's just two of us, so sometimes it can be hard to get a hold of someone, but you can leave us a message. That voicemail will also go to our ticketing system, so that comes through. You don't have access to email, something's totally wrong. Last minute, call us, leave us a message, give us your name. It's my Bio 101 course. This is messed up. I can't get into Canvas. Oh my gosh, this. We'll still get a case. It will transcribe the whole voicemail pretty well, actually. So if we're stuck in a meeting or something, we can see that case and it's titled, my quiz that starts in 10 minutes won't publish, something like that. We can grab it real quick, fix it, and then give you a call back later, same kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of the support information over on the help button over here. There are a couple different options over here. Report a problem goes to us and Canvas. That's more if you have some sort of a it's really more for students kind of. They have a specific technical problem with something with Canvas that's not really assignment or course related. They can click that. Essentially, all that does differently from contacting us directly is it just grabs the link of the page that you were on when, the student clicked help and clicked report a problem. So it takes a little bit of time, but not a ton. Yeah, AU Faculty Learning Support Services Portal for both student and faculty. That is to the AU internal guides about Canvas and other learning support needs and things like that. And then one of the other more useful ones is going to be up here at the top to search the Canvas guides. One of the great things about the Canvas guides, we'll select Canvas LMS. Down to getting started is obviously a great place to start if you're getting started. And then obviously there are various kind of other places to go. If you're just looking for kind of a role-based guide for something for a student, you as an instructor, we can click on instructor here and we can get to the main full list of all the guides. One of the best things about the guides within Canvas is not only are they maintained by it's called the product team within Canvas. It's an entire team, half former teachers, things like that, and then half it's kind of the technical side of things, software engineers and things like that. Not only do they maintain these, but they're also the ones on the front end of tool that help build and design the tools. Why they're designed in this way is the pedagogical team. They do the pedagogical side, the teaching side, and then the technical side is the software engineering team. But again, not only are these maintained by the product team. These are official both external and internal to Canvas. So when the software engineers have to, double check, oh, this something's working weird, how's it supposed to work? They will go into these exact same guides, check them, and this is how it's supposed to work. So again, these are maintained very frequently. You'll often see little tweaks, little changes to things. They'll be added up here to the blue section in notes. So it's pretty easy to miss or pretty hard to miss, hopefully. So yeah, if there's a guide that you check frequently for total column in the grade book, make sure you're double checking this blue section. If something looks a little bit strange, double check the guide, things like that. That's where you would find, we just changed this column from a light blue to a slightly darker blue. It doesn't mean anything. It's just for, accessibility purposes, things like that. A couple other things down at the bottom. Actually, I don't think release notes shows for instructors over here anymore. If it does, it's just updates for Canvas. We'll get to those a little bit later as well if we have a little bit of time right at the end. But yeah, enough about the help section over here. Let's get into Canvas. So again, this is the Canvas overview. So we're doing a high level kind of new to using Canvas. You just want to get in, get your course set up. So you're at a good place for when students get into your course and get started, things like that. So we're going to cover the basics, getting the course published, which is going to be accessible to students. We're going to see that a couple other places for assignments and many other tools. The publication status dictates whether or not students are able to see or not see that item. So we will get the course published. We will get a homepage set. We will go through creating assignments. We'll go through creating announcements and a couple other things sprinkled in there, depending on how much time we have. But since it's just us, I think we should have quite a bit of time. So starting here from the dashboard within your Canvas course, again, this is what you will first see when you come into Canvas and you head over to, usually it will take you to this page in most cases. At times it may take you into another tab, but we can always just click dashboard over here at courses. You won't see an admin, that's just for me. A couple others. So this is where we'll start. This is where you should hopefully be seeing your course. If you do not see your course, definitely let us know. Shoot us a quick email, canvas@american.edu. For instructors, we just need the, bio 101-001, bios 101 section 001, and we can add you to that right away. Instructors are able to add students to their courses. We are able to do that as well. But for student enrollments to be added, we just need a screenshot of their Eagle Service schedule that shows they're, officially enrolled in the course and they're not just trying to sneak in a little bit for free, whatever reason. Yes, we can also assist with that. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. So again, this is where your courses will be listed. Most likely your courses will be showing under unpublished. Again, that is not currently visible to students. That is kind of in the process of being configured and set up, things like that. Today we will be working within Cool 101. It is a great course. We teach it here because we're cool. So we will pull up Cool 101. Again, we can see here Cool 101 section 001, and this is 2025 F, so 2025 fall. If you're just starting out at AU with Canvas, you'll most likely just have one or two or a few courses. You won't be having to worry about too many past courses that you'll be seeing. But as time goes on, it will be something to just keep an eye on, make sure you're operating within the correct course, because they can start looking pretty similar after a while. There are quite a few fail-safes to kind of prevent against that. Past courses are all in a read-only state, but it can be a little bit confusing when you get a bunch of courses of the same course number, that kind of thing. So again, we will start here. This is the page we will see when we first get into the course. Not a lot going on here, but we will fix that. Over on the left-hand side here, we do have a list of our course menu options here, and this is completely editable. We can add or remove items that are showing here if we don't want to use them within your course. We can change the order of them. We can simplify it so it just shows, home, assignments, and grades for students. That's all they can see. That's it. That's all they need to worry about, things like that. Or we can add various other tools. Most of these are internal tools, grades, people, pages. Those are things that Canvas have created. Those are internal Canvas pages. And then as we get to the bottom, I should say the bottom. They're not always going to be at the bottom because they can be customized, the order. We will see some of the external tools, Google Drive, Office 365, Respondus Lockdown, Zoom, things like that. Those are, again, obviously external tools that have been integrated into Canvas. The vast majority of them are already going to be set up for everyone, for you, for students, everything like that. So for the most part, those don't need to be worried about. We will have some upcoming sessions that cover those specifically. There are a bunch of them. I can't remember the exact schedule, but we have a bunch. So again, for now, we'll just be covering the basics, though. Sorry, let me just make sure I'm going through all my notes and covering everything. Awesome. So again, this is the homepage that you will start at when you first come into your course. This is how it will look when there's nothing in there. You'll see the title up at the top. Again, we'll have this course menu on the left. And to get started, we're going to be looking over here on the right-hand side to some of these gray buttons. At the top, we will see, again, I mentioned a lot about the publication status of the course. We do have, again, this is the status for the entire course as a whole. So right now the course is unpublished. Students are not able to see it. For example, if students were enrolled in your course, it's an upcoming fall course, you're still getting started building it, students will see just the title of the course listed in their future courses list. So if you remember, actually, no, let's show that real quick. So to see all of your courses for both you and students, we will click on the courses tab. We'll get a little slide out, show most of them here, but not all of them. And all courses here at the top, I'm just going to open it in a new tab so we can keep our place here. This is where all of your courses, obviously not all courses, will be listed. Once you have a few more, it'll be more of a full page. But for now, there are probably just going to be a couple on there. Current courses, active courses are going to be up at the top. You'll see, again, over time, things like, I don't really have any great ones, departmental courses, training courses, program-specific, informational-based courses that are not official graded for credit courses, things like that. Many of those will stay open all the time. They have continuous enrollment, so they don't close down semester by semester. So the Fulbright office, whatever, they'll have a Fulbright course that is continuous that'll show here up at the top. Past enrollments, just as it sounds, past terms that are essentially closed. The courses are concluded. They're no longer being actively taken, I guess. So these courses down at the bottom, again, will be in a read-only state. You can still access them. You can still view them. If anything does need to be changed, incompletes, we can create an incomplete section for just you and a student to have access during a given window of time. They got an incomplete super late, they get just this 1 month. We can set that up so just you and the student can access it, but the rest of the course can't get back in. They don't see it as an active course and confuse everyone, things like that. If you just need to get back in and change things, we can open it up for just you to get back in. But past enrollments will show down here. I thought I created a future enrollment, but I must have not put it in the correct term, because future enrollments, again, if the fall courses have not started yet, you will see future enrollments between active, current up here at the top, and past at the bottom. Right in the middle here, there'll be a big, it'll say in the same size text here, it'll say future enrollments, and that's where students will most likely see that course that is unpublished, as long as they've been enrolled in it, things like that. There is about a day-ish, usually a little bit less, a delay. If the student just enrolled for the course, it may not push to Canvas immediately. But again, if it is time sensitive, absolutely reach out to us and we can help you get them put in early, I guess. We can beat the system a little bit, beat the computers for once. So again, this is where the students will find their course before you publish it. So heading back to the course homepage, closing down that courses tab. Again, this is the homepage where you will start before there is any information in your course. This is where we'll get started. Again, in the upper right-hand corner, we saw that the course is currently unpublished, which means students cannot see it. They can only see it in their future courses list. So here's where the training session kind of forks off into two directions. We'll cover both forks, but we're going to cover the easy one first, of course, because it's the easy one. Hopefully this is the case that all of you will be creating your courses with. If you are lucky enough to work with the department or other instructors within your department, the department head, dean, whoever, and they have either mentioned that they would share content with you, share a course shell with you that you can use that content, modify it, change it to use within your course shell. This is the process we would use for that. Essentially, we're going to be using the Canvas course import tool to make a copy of that content and pull it over here into this new course. So again, this is usually going to be the quickest way to create your course. And even if you don't have your course created like this, once you do have content created within Canvas, it is always able to be rolled over. One of the best tools, in my opinion, or one of the best functionalities within Canvas, I guess, as a whole, is it's really hard to get rid of content. You can always reuse things, move things between courses, from an old course to a new course, grab a couple things from that one, a couple things from this one, and make a course with just a couple things. You know, if it's a review course, take 101, 102, 103, pull a couple quizzes, put them in here. You've got 201, whatever, something like that. So the course import tool is fantastic. If you have not heard from someone in the department that they have courses to share for you, double check real quick. Reach out to the department head, secretary, other instructors, things like that. If they said, hey, you know, this person used to teach your course, reach out to them with any questions. You can reach out and say, hey, would you mind sharing your past course with me just so I can take a look, you know, maybe use some of the content, the text, things like that. Again, reach out to us, canvas@american.edu. We can always help with that. Past courses are closed, so instructors can't add new instructors to their past courses, but we can reopen them, add you to their course, reclose it so the student can't get back in, but you can get in. So again, sorry, that was a very long preface as well. So again, we're going to be using the first one here, which is import existing content. And we'll leave this course for a second. So what we're going to be doing here, again, say, for example, you had a course that was shared with you. It's an active course, so they just added you to that course. We just need some information to essentially attach it to this one to be able to know where we're pulling the content from. So in this select content type, we'll choose the second option for copy a Canvas course. And then it just wants us to search for a course here. So there are a couple different ways that you can search this. We can just search like Bio 101-001. I haven't taught any of those, so it doesn't find them. It will first search any courses that you have access to. And then there are also quite a few different ways that you can search for other courses. One of the most reliable ones, so say for example, I do have another course that was shared with me. It is, where did I put it? It was the last semester term. So it was Cool 101 from spring 2025. So I have that course pulled up here. So from this course, if we go into the settings menu here down at the bottom, we'll see there are quite a few. There's the course name, there's the course code, there's the SIS ID. If we go over to sections, if you have a cross-listed course, there are going to be section numbers, section IDs. Those can all be a little bit confusing if you've got a lot of courses going on. In my opinion, the best way to link those courses and to grab that information is looking right up here in the web address bar, in the URL bar for the course. So all courses will have american.instructure.com/courses, and then they will have this 5-digit number here. It's 5-digit for now. Eventually it'll be 6 when we get to that many courses. So this 5-digit number here, this is unique to this course. No matter where you go in this course, you'll see now we're on the modules page for 74033, the assignments page for 74033, the quizzes page, and so on and so on. So this is the number that we want to grab. And when we're importing here, where we search for a course, we can paste that course right there. We will still see a couple, again, because there are multiple different ways that you can grab this. Long story short, Canvas was just sold to a second private equity firm since its original creator sold it a couple of years ago. The new company has been making some more changes to this tool. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that right now. They have been making changes to it. So sometimes you will just see this course, sometimes you will see two others. These may have a section number that has part of this number in it. The section number may be like 001 74033, that kind of thing. They have been communicating changes of this, I guess, small effect, quote unquote. They have not been doing a great job of communicating changes to this, as had the previous company that owned Canvas. So that is something we have been trying to keep on top of about, and we have been sending out notifications when there have been changes made like that, for things like this. So yeah, so using the ID from the URL for the course that you're pulling the content from, this is going to be, in my opinion, the most reliable. Fingers crossed. Let's put it that way. So again, we have our course selected here, and then beneath that, we have two options for the content that we are going to pull over. All content is going to be everything that is, quote, reusable. So student submissions to the previous course, comments to discussions, anything like that that is student related, those will not be reused. It is just going to be the course as it was before anyone submitted, commented, took any quizzes, anything like that. So yeah, you won't get any reusable, or sorry, you'll get only the reusable content and none of these student submissions. Obviously, nothing for protected things like that. Yeah, select specific content. Once you start the import, it will scan the course, and then down here, when it's processing, we'll have the ability, it'll have a blue button that says select content, and then we'll be able to go through, section by section. Which quizzes do we want? Do we want quiz 1, 4, and 7, assignment 2, 3, and 6, things like that? So again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're just pulling a couple things from different courses, you'll want to choose the select specific content option. Choose those things that you're pulling in. Yes, you can choose all the assignments, all of the quizzes, things like that, but you have the ability to choose just some of them as well. So again, all content versus specific content. Yeah, really depends on what you're working with, what you're building, things like that. Things are able to be deleted. So, if there are a couple things that you're not sure if you want or maybe are not going to use, import them in there. You can also leave them unpublished so students cannot see them. You can have a whole set of unpublished assignments, down at the bottom of the assignments page, completely unpublished in an unpublished assignment group, so students are not able to see them. You can get that set up, and you can have kind of like, back pocket assignments that you may use for something, snow day, schools cancel, you need to move things around. So yeah, importing more is usually a little bit better because it's easier to handle more than it is not having enough. We can always go back and run an additional import for specific content. However, the one thing we really want to avoid is going to be up here at the top. Running multiple imports for all content for the same course has a very high probability of causing issues with the course. It's not every time, but it is a very high probability that will cause issues. It can delete content, things like that. So if you ever need to repeat an import from another course, definitely want to do select specific content. And try your best to not import the same individual content like quiz 1. Try to not import the same quiz 1 multiple times, because that I shouldn't say is, that seems to be one of the ways where it can cause a little bit more trouble. Down here, these options at the bottom, convert content to new quizzes. Canvas does have kind of two quiz tools, new quizzes and classic quizzes. Those will be covered in a entire, I think we have it completely set. There's a new quizzes and then a classic quizzes training entirely. If you're not sure, leave that unchecked. Classic quizzes is 100, 1000, 1,000,000% functional. It's usually what I recommend for most users, unless they have a specific need that requires something from new quizzes, which is really just like one or two things. It's just a lot easier to use. And then adjust events and due dates. This used to be a great tool, but they have since come out with a mass date adjustment tool within the assignments page that makes it a lot easier. Adjust events and due dates does work, quote unquote, but all it does is it takes the past course. So again, we're importing from spring course. So it takes the start and the end date, January 12th and May 1st, whatever. And then it looks at the start and the end date of the course that we're importing it into, a fall course. So August 25th and December 12th, something like that. It just takes those, it looks at them, it compares the exact length of them, whatever, how, 12 was 16 weeks, however many exact days, and it compares the exact length of them. And if one of them is, 1.2% longer, it will increase uh, the increment between items like quiz one and quiz two. If they were exactly a week apart, they would then be a week and a day plus 2.6 hours apart, something like that. So it estimates based on the relative length of the new course and the old course. So it works, absolutely works, but it's going to be all over. Things are going to be due at like 4:24 a.m. on a Sunday because they were previously due early on a Monday. The term is shorter, whatever. Yeah, in most cases, you're going to want to leave that unchecked and just use the mass date adjustment tool on the assignments page, and we should be able to cover that real quick. So we have copy Canvas course. We have our course selected here. We have all content selected. Include completed courses is just for searching. Don't know why it shows there anymore because they, for the most part, completed courses show regardless of if you have that box checked, which is weird. All content selected and the options unchecked. Add import to queue. That just means start the import. There's technically a queue just because it takes a bit of processing power for that. Each school with Canvas is on their own server cluster, essentially. So it does somewhat queue them locally. This week is probably going to be the busiest it'll ever be. Annually, at least, this time next year, it'll be just as busy. So you can see here, it is going a little bit slower. We don't even have the bar loading yet. If we refresh the page here, we'll see we are queued and now it's running. So we can leave this page. We can, go start an import on another page. But again, I mentioned if we were doing a select specific content import, after we hit add to import queue, it will scan the course. It'll take 2 seconds. And then we'll see a button over here that says select content. When we click on that button, it'll open up a box in the window in the middle of the page, and it'll just show all the content. It'll show assignments, quizzes, all of those, and they'll just have little check boxes next to each of them. You can select the content, and then there's just a blue import button. But since we're doing all content, it just automatically starts getting through everything. So this is going pretty quick. It's usually not too slow. We can even see usually as it's working, we can see some of the content come over. So yeah, usually it doesn't take too long. If you're importing content any other time besides like this week, next week, or maybe last week, it should be almost instant. Unless it's a massive course with tons of videos, PowerPoints, massive amounts of huge documents of 100-page readings. Those kind of things might take a little bit longer, but for the most part, it should just take a couple seconds. Yeah, since it's the fall, this week is pretty much going to be the busiest time that you'll ever see for the most part. So we'll give it a couple more seconds and it should be done here. One of the things you may see on this page once it's completed is that there are a certain number of errors that have come up. Awesome, cool, we got a couple errors. We got one issue, that's perfect. So partially completed is a horrible name for it. It's completed, but there are X number of issues. Issues in the vast majority of cases are going to be a link is either missing or not working, or just Canvas is somehow confused about it. Again, the vast majority of them are going to be links to articles. The way different publications with paywalls and taking articles from the front page to a column section to just organizing things on their website of where they place different things. My sister's in journalism, if you can tell. The way they move those around frequently, it sometimes will cause the article that you were trying to lead to, it's no longer on the front page. It is now in the politics section or wherever. And it's just the link needs to be updated. In a lot of cases, let's see, we'll go over to the page here. And you can see here, this is just a getting started page. So this is just a general information page, somewhat of a boilerplate template kind of thing for the course. And this is also something a lot of departments will have, this sort of a template page, which is also a great reason to reach out to your department head to see if they have any sort of past courses or any sort of templates or departmental information pages, things like this, that they can share with you. So what we were getting is, I don't remember what, I think it says what link, if we go back to it, but one of these links is just leading to a page that is just having some trouble functioning. Oh, wow, I picked that one out of nowhere, or it's just all on this one page. So essentially it's just saying the link just needs to be replaced. 99 times out of 100, it's a link that just needs to be replaced. There isn't actually any problems. So yeah. It's not incomplete. It is completely complete. So again, it's just a poor misnomer for the status of the actual import. Yeah, it's fully complete. We can go, we can see all the content that we imported. Week 1 content, week 2, everything like that on the modules page. We head over to the syllabus page. We have the syllabus here. We head over to the home page. We have a configured home page with a nice pretty, yeah, we have an image here, nice winter review. So yeah, this is how easy it can be. If you do have content that has been shared with you or from otherwise. Oh, I should also include, if you have content from previous institutions or other institutions where you work, that can also be used as long as legally and I guess just legally, as long as legally it's allowed to be used from one institution to another, things like that. Yeah, we can absolutely help you get that imported into here. You can, since it's not the same institution, what we would have you do is we would have you export a individual file from that course, and then we would use a different import tool to pull that file into the course. But yeah, we can absolutely use that. We can take out the Georgetown picture and add in the AU picture, things like that. So yeah, as you can see here, that was pretty quick. I talked through a lot of it, so it's a lot quicker when you're not listening to me talk about 1,000 things. But you can see here, it's very quickly, your course is essentially ready. You know, in the people section, there are no students in my course, but there would be students in your course. You would see you as the instructor, you would have all your students listed. So now the only thing left to do is publish the course. So again, this course status indicator, I guess we have up here. It shows as unpublished. If we click here, we can select the publish option. And we'll see here now the course status is published. Course was successfully updated. That is now published. And students now have access to the course material. So again, this is a best case scenario. It is obviously the quickest way to get your course completely set up, but it is perfectly fine if you don't have any other course material shared with you, as it's very easy to get them started. So what I'm going to do now is clear out all of this content. This is just an admin tool just to reset course content. If you ever need us to reset your course entirely, delete everything, start from scratch, definitely reach out to us and we would be happy to do that. We can also take that content, copy it into another course if you may want to use it, but it just doesn't seem right, whatever. We can copy it into another course shell, a sandbox course, assign you as the instructor. You can have it in your account and we can reset this one so you have a fresh slate to start with. All right, so now somewhat starting over. This is let's say the hard way, the manual way to create your course in Canvas. So you don't have any other materials that have been shared with you that are already Canvas. I don't want to say formatted because there's not really a way to manually format things for Canvas. You just have to export it from Canvas. But you don't have any previous course content or anything like that. You're just going to be building from scratch. So there are kind of a couple main things that really need to be set up to make the course functional to students. And those are going to be usually homepage, syllabus, announcements, and assignments. Those are kind of going to be the core for, I guess, that kind of give life to the course a little bit. When students go in, the first thing they're going to be, when they select their course from their dashboard or their courses page, the first thing they see is the home page. So we can set that to be the syllabus page. No excuses, you know, sends them right to the syllabus page. They have to see it when they get in the course. There's no way they could have missed it unless they, you know, actively ignored the page, that kind of thing. Or we can just create, you know, just a page of information, whatever text you want to throw up on there. You can create a page that you constantly edit every week. You add different content up on that page. So yeah, there are quite a few options for setting up your home page within the course. So to find that, we'll again start from the home page, the first page you're at when you enter into your course. And we're going to look over on the right-hand side again here, and we're going to see this third gray button for choose home page. If we click on that, we'll get a little menu pop up in the middle and it'll show you some of the options we have. Course activity stream is going to be based off of essentially a live individualized view for each student of the assignments they have coming up. So based on the date of the assignment and whether or not they've completed an assignment, it will show on their course activity stream. So, you know, as they complete assignment 1, it will drop off their course activity stream, and assignment 2 will be next, and assignment 3, 4, 5, quiz 1, whatever they have not completed and has a date that is within their course will show in the course activity stream. Conversely, if it does not have a due date, it just won't show in the course activity stream. A very specialized case with a couple things that we'll get into in these specific trainings for each of those options for assignments and discussions. So the next one, pages front page. So pages within Canvas are essentially just kind of like a Wikipedia page. It's just information. There's no student participation. There's no submission. There's no commenting. It's just static information. From the student side, it's static. You can edit the pages anytime. But from the student's view, it's static information. They're just viewing, reading, reviewing, finding links, whatever. So with that, we can create a home page that we set as the front page for our course. Again, we can put customized information, a link to a non-Canvas course page. If there's I'm totally blanking on the name for the external blog that a lot of courses use for information. Totally blanking. Any tools like that, really, even though I can't think of the name. You can link into the page. You just get a big, so let's go through it real quick. A little bit ahead of schedule. So pages, front page, it takes you to the pages menu. You click the blue plus page button to create a page. We have a title, home page. And then here we have just a large text box where we can put whatever. We have some familiar tools up here. You will see these within everything in Canvas. Creating assignments, quizzes, discussions, pages, announcements. This is RCE, the Rich Content Editor. So it is a text box that has tools that you can import, format, customize, pretty much make anything over here. We have some more tools down here, HTML editor, zoom in and zoom out, full screen. And then this one over here is really great. You can just click and drag to make the text box larger. So again, this is where you can put home page for cool 101 section 001 of 2025 fall. Below it, you can have a hyperlink to that external blog that I am completely forgetting the name of right now. You can have a link to a New York Times article that is a focus on whatever this course is on. If it's a study of something specific, specific time period, whatever. Whatever content you would like to have on here, you can set. All of these tools here up at the top should look pretty familiar for the most part. And then all of the ones over here are pretty much just image versions of the insert options. So links, images, media, documents, uploading a document, uploading it from your computer. Course documents, those just come from the course files section. So if you want to upload everything to the file section and work from there, you can do that as well. And then also user documents. Each user does have a file section as well in their account section. So you can also work from that as well. Really, the only benefit for that is if you have a different computer at home than you do at work and you want to add files from your home computer without file sharing or USB flash driving, you can add them to files at home. And then when you get to work, you can use your work computer. Most people have laptops, so not as much of an issue anymore as it used to be a couple years ago. This star here is going to be any sort of extra, this is one is specifically to the embed Kaltura media. So Kaltura is the official media tool at Canvas. Any recorded Zoom meetings will automatically go to Kaltura. So as somewhat of a shortcut, there is this Kaltura star here that goes directly to the Kaltura plugin. But for the rest of the plugins within the course, we click on this little plug icon, view all, and we'll see all the external tools that are already attached to and set up with your Canvas account. Follett publisher, if you have a Follett a text, it can be, you can work with the bookstore to get that set up to be accessible through this tool here. Kaltura video submission, Microsoft 365, Teams meetings, Pearson publisher, PlayPosit, anything like that. YouTube for YouTube videos. You can also just copy and paste a link, but you can attach YouTube as well. Yeah, if you don't see it there, but it is something that says we have a Canvas tool, we have a Canvas LTI 1.3, anything like that. If you don't see it here, reach out to us. We can help you get it set up 9 times out of 10. The 10th time is just if it is a security issue that Canvas won't allow it. But 9 times out of 10, if you have some sort of tool that you don't already see in Canvas or isn't already accessible in Canvas, we can help you get that added to your course. So yeah, you add all, sorry, keep going on tangents. There's just so much in Canvas. So you get all your information added here to your homepage, whatever, images, links, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Our options down here, you can allow students to edit pages. However, it's very, very rarely recommended just because It's not always easy to see who has made edits. Students are able to delete everything and put up, if they're just supposed to sign up for one, it's easy for them to accidentally highlight, just put their name for September 4th and delete everyone else's. So there's usually 99% of the time, there's a better way to collaborate with students than to use a page that is editable by teachers and students or anyone. Add to student to-do list, as I mentioned with the course activity stream, that is based off of the to-do list, which is, again, the live view of what students are seeing. So you can add some sort of a non-graded, so you don't want to create an assignment, you don't want it to be assignment, whatever. You can add a dated item that shows on student to-do lists in the course activity stream by just adding a date to it when it happens, occurs, whatever, shows on their student calendar. And publish at, we can set up pages to publish at a certain date. So if you want something to publish Sunday night, you don't have to go on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Publish it so students have access, whatever the day before, we can set that up ahead of time. And then assign access as well. If you just want to have this visible to a set of students, an individual student, one student missed the exam and you want to give them a new exam, but you have to give them a new study guide for the new exam because fairness, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You can assign this to just an individual student. So by default, pages are assigned to everyone. Everyone in the course can see it, but we do have the ability to remove that and just say, I don't have any students within my course, but student names would show down here and you can say, I just want to pick Jane Smith, just add Jane Smith to this page because it's just information that has to do with Jane. If you have multiple sections within your course, a dual enrollment course, 400, 600, undergraduate, graduate, you can create content, create a page that is just accessible to the graduate students because they have more things because they're graduate students. Check my checklist. Yeah, so we have all our information. We have our page created. This is going to be our home page. Again, save just saves it for you. Save and publish it. Publishes it for student view. So we will click save and publish because we're creating the home page. We want it published. And we have our home page. It's not much, but this is our home page. So we will head back over to the home page. Again, we're using our choose home pages button. And you'll see here, this is still grayed out. So the reason that's grayed out, you can see the asterisk front page must be set first. You just have to set a page as the front page. This can be done with these three dots here. Use front page. It's not really useful. It's kind of a vestigial from a few Canvas page configurations. So it really should be something they should get rid of soon. But you do have the ability to change to a different page here. We click save here, and now you can see the first page that students get into is the home page that we created. We have our text here. Again, some of our other options, the course modules page, we'll get to that in a little bit. The course modules page is essentially a functional table of contents. So assignments are in the assignments menu, quizzes are in the quizzes menu, etc. If you want all of those in one location, so week one has assignment one, page one of readings, and quiz one, that would be something we would build on the modules page. It's a functional table of contents where we can kind of create and break down by week, by chapter, however we want to kind of subdivide the course. We can have students directly go to that modules page as soon as they access the course. Next, assignments list. Very similarly, they go directly to the assignments list. There's no excuse for them to not see an assignment because they go to the assignments list as soon as they get into the course, and they should be going into the course because they're taking the course, things like that. And then lastly, the syllabus. Again, there's a dedicated syllabus page over here where you upload the syllabus. And again, the first page that students get to is going to be that syllabus page. So again, we set that as the syllabus page. We can go here, insert, we can upload a document from our computer if we have a course document that we've already uploaded, whatever. I don't think I have any syllabi. I have to clear out my downloads folder a lot from helping teachers get their courses set up because I always have a ton of files that I was downloading and helping them and checking and things like that. And I just cleared it out yesterday, unfortunately. But yes, so insert, we can use insert here, add a document, upload document, course document, user document. Once the document, oh, here, I should add something actually though, so we can see. What do we have here? Some albums, substance fees. Let's use this. I think yeah, it's not an empty file. It's just not formatted properly. I don't think I have anything. Yeah, these are all CSVs. Those won't be visible. trying to figure out where I might have a document. Actually, I'll just go borrow one. Imagine you're not seeing any of this. We have one here. Oh, this one's allowed to be. Awesome. I'm stealing this one. So actually, we don't need to steal it. We'll just work from here because it's a demo course. So imagine this isn't here right now. Imagine we want to add. Actually, no. Yeah, I will head back to my course and go through the whole process. I don't want to mess up this one because this one has a couple on there. Oh no, that's my spring. I'm going to go fall. Okay, so syllabus page, we go to edit. We want to upload a file, so we can either go to insert document and upload document, or we can just click on this document icon here, upload a file. We have a syllabus. No preview is available. That's fine. It just means it hasn't scanned it for the preview. It just takes a second to scan it. It very rarely previews in that first page. Now that we have the file hyperlinked here, we can click Update Syllabus. Students will see this syllabus document. They can click on the document. It will open a new tab in their browser, and they will see the syllabus for their course. However, we can make it a little bit easier for students to see. Don't know why this isn't the default within Canvas. It is something we've been asking for years. But if you click on the text, you'll have link options here. We'll get a little slide out here from the right-hand side. If we select preview inline, that means the preview is on the same page instead of a new tab, and then select the expand preview by default, click done, update syllabus. It is a much better view. So rather than students just seeing this syllabus document, they can click it and download it. Students will by default see the file. They can still download it on their computer, have it locally so they have a reference, but they will also see this preview file showing their super long syllabus that they have within their course and all that information. Again, we still do have the course summary down at the bottom. That is the live view of what each respective student has not completed yet within their course. As they do complete things, it will drop off from the course summary. The syllabus page is a very popular homepage setting because it has that I don't want to say fail safe, but students are required to go to that when they get into their Canvas account. It will first take them to their dashboard when they go into their course. Oh, it looks like I published the spring one. Published. When they go into their published course, the first page they will see by default is going to be the syllabus page. Again, there's no excuses. They have the syllabus and then they have their assignments down at the bottom. So again, you do have a couple pages to choose from for the home page. Just kind of depends on the course as to what's going to be most useful for you. The rest of these we'll get to in some other trainings because they're a little bit more specialized for different things. So I mentioned earlier, the kind of basics of the course are going to be home, assignments, announcements, and the syllabus page. So the home page, in very many cases, will also be the syllabus page within your course. But again, it is the first place where students are directed when they enter your course. No excuses for, I didn't see the syllabus, whatever, things like that. So next one is going to be the announcements page. As it sounds, this is a great way for communicating with your students. It posts the announcement not only to this announcements tab, but students will also get a notification email to their email address on file with Canvas, which is always going to be their AU email address. They will get a notification of the announcement. It will have a text of the announcement, and it will also have a button that says click here to view the, what is it exactly? Click here to view the announcement in Canvas, I think. It will open up a tab in their browser and will take them directly to the announcement within your course specifically. By default, all students have that notification turned on. It is something students do have the ability to turn off. Most students don't know that, but it is yeah, it's going to let them know in both their email and Canvas. So kind of regardless of where they go amongst their AU accounts, they will see this sort of information. And if we click this blue add announcement button, we will see a very familiar title bar and RCE, rich content editor here. So again, we give it a title, welcome to the first class, something like that. We put our information down here, and then things do change a little bit down at the bottom. We do have the ability to attach a file here. Here's a document to read before your first class. However, we can also just upload the document directly into the text box here. So again, whatever need you may have in your course to attach, but not include in the text box, you also have the ability to attach. So the post to, this is very similar to the assign to box that we saw in the bottom of the page, and we'll also see within assignments. But since it's not assigned to them, since it's not an assignment, pages aren't either, but from Canvas's perspective, whatever. You can also post announcements to specific sections. In the vast majority of cases, this will be if you have a dual enrollment, undergraduate, graduate, 400, 600, post an announcement to just the graduates because they have to go to some out of class thing, but you don't want the undergraduates to see it, be confused, show up, and it not be for them. So you can, by default, it will be published to, by default, it will be published to all sections. However, if you do have multiple sections in your course, you can remove that, and this is where those sections would be listed if I had multiple sections within my course. So then below that, we have a couple options, again, specific to the announcement. Allow participants to comment. It just lets them comment. It's Facebook style comments just below the text that you have added to the announcement. And with that, threaded replies, someone can comment and then another student can comment on that comment. If one student comments, I can't, this link doesn't work for me, someone can reply to that and say, yeah, it doesn't work for me either. So it's just kind of for organizational sake, again, Facebook style comments. And then participants must respond to the topic before reviewing other replies. Super useful for discussions that are graded, but for announcements, not so much. Essentially, this prevents students from looking at all the other replies to a discussion. In the past, I used to say, rewording that in their head and retyping it out, but now it's most likely this stops students from copying all of the other replies to a discussion, pasting it into ChatGPT, and then saying, give me 3 or 4 original sentences that is a similar reply to what these students said without having to read Of Mice and Men, chapter 4, whatever. So this is, mostly useful for graded discussions, but you also have this ability within, announcements. If you want every student to reply with their topic for their upcoming paper or whatever, something like that, you can require students to respond with their reply, which means they just see the title, they just see the, your announcement at the top, and then they just have the ability for them to reply at the bottom, and they won't see any of the other students' replies until they post theirs. Yeah, you can use that with announcements also. Again, more useful with discussions. Enable podcasting feed. This is technically functional, but there are just better ways to link to a podcast than this. Just linking to the podcast directly through here. You can include the feed link to the podcast directly within the text box. And this enable podcast feed just doesn't work a lot. So again, kind of vestigial, not really sure why it's still there. I'm sure it's just a buzzwordy kind of thing that the board at Canvas likes to know they're still podcasting in Canvas, something like that. Allow liking. This is just a little thumbs up. Again, Canvas style. If you want students to in some way communicate that they've read your notification, or excuse me, read your announcement, you can have them, say at the bottom, or even, if you want to be sneaky, put it like a sentence right in the middle, like click the like button when you've read this for 2 extra credit points, whatever, something like that. You can allow students to like it. Only graders can like, again, not really useful here. Excuse me, more useful in discussions where it's, you as a grader is registering discussion replies as completing a requirement for a student on a graded discussion, something like that. And then lastly is going to be the available from and until date. If you want a announcement only available within a certain window because it's information about a pretest or a exam study session, something like that, you can set that here as well. So once you have your announcement with all the information and everything included, publishing it is essentially just posting that announcement for students to see. Once we do hit publish, we will see the layout of the announcement itself. Again, it will look somewhat similar to the discussion page. They will be very similar. This is how students can reply. So this is, I have read the info about the exam. The student replies. And then you have the ability, again, these are the threaded replies. So someone can reply to this, I did too, if they're replying to their specific comment versus replying to the main point. So that's just one thing to kind of keep in mind. You can reply to the main announcement, or you can reply to another student's reply to the main announcement. Again, Facebook replies. Everyone gets that for the most part. Announcements are pretty cut and dry. You post them to students. Students get a notification about it. They see that information here, all listed in the announcements page. So there is a record of them. Also, students have the ability to you know, see a history of announcements. If they didn't actually read it when they saw it in their email and they delete the email, whatever, they can always come find them in the course here. Awesome. Home, announcements, and syllabus we have covered. Now we will get over to assignments. Oh, wow, we are running low on time. So the assignments page here, again, is going to be, let me just delete these old assignment groups. Assignments, obviously, is where we create assignments for in the course. So anytime students are going to be submitting anything, receiving a grade, and you want that submission to be essentially private between you and the student, as opposed to discussions where everyone can see their reply, an assignment is what you're going to be using. So this gray bar up here that says assignments, this is going to be an assignment group. As we add assignments, they will be added to this group, or we can add additional groups. The only other functionality for groups is that is how you create weighted assignment groups. So if you want, a quizzes group as well, you can see here, we can add, that's 50% of the total. And now you can see here, we can edit assignments is 50% of the total. We'll get to more of these a little bit in another training session that covers assignments in depth, and we have a little bit more time. So that's just the one thing to keep in mind about these gray headers, the assignment groups. But for the most part, you'll just be clicking the blue plus assignment button, and we have another very familiar assignment, another very familiar page here where we see the title up here, and then we have a large text box where we put the information. As opposed to a quiz where there are individual questions where we can put, who was president in 1847, whatever. We have this large text box here where we put for assignment 1, I want you, oh my goodness, wow, to write a 500-word essay on cheese. That's the assignment. That's the details of the assignment that you are communicating to students. When students go into their cheese assignment number 1, they will see the title up at the top. They'll see this is the information, and then down at the bottom, they will have however they're going to be submitting to the assignment that we'll get to down here. So the points is going to be the total available points for the assignment, 100, 50, 10, however much the total value is. So as I mentioned on the last page, the assignment groups, this is both for organization and for assignment group weighting. If you want to weight your assignment groups within your course, they can just be put within different groups here. Display grade as is exactly how it sounds. All assignments, quizzes, discussions, anything graded within Canvas is all going to be points at the end of the day, quote unquote. However, display grade as is just going to be how you would like to display to students. If a student got a 97 point score out of 100, if it's set to points, they see 97 points. If it's percentage, they see 97 percentage. Letter grade, they see 97% A, blah, 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 things like that. It is just how it is displayed to students. It doesn't really affect anything other than that, just how it is viewed to students. At the end of the day, it's still going to be out of 100 points. Submission type, that's going to be what you are requesting from students and how essentially they are submitting that. So online means anything through Canvas. So any submission that is submitted to Canvas is online. No submission if they're not submitting, if they went to a play, if they saw Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, whatever, they're getting 50 points because you saw them and you wrote down their name that you saw them, blah, blah, blah. They're not submitting, you're just entering a grade for them out of 100 points. On paper, very rarely used. If students are handing you paper, the on paper function allows you to scan it and then upload a file of their on paper submission. Not used very often, as you can understand. External tool is going to be if you are having students submit through, obviously, an external tool. So if they're submitting through Kaltura or what are some of the other ones? Pearson has a submission tool. If there's some sort of a assignment they're completing on that LTI, whatever, you would attach the tool. We would go through and select Pearson, Cengage, whatever, attach it to that tool, and then they can submit through there. It gives them a little link. They click on it, they go and they submit wherever it is. It passes that assignment back to Canvas. Again, for the most part, you'll be using online. The online entry options are, again, the options that students have within Canvas to submit. If multiple are selected, students will have a little tab in their submission view, we'll see that in a minute, where they can select which one they would like. Text entry, they get a text box just like this with all of these options. So with that, they can type something, they can upload a file and have a file show, the CSV file. It's not empty. I don't know why it's saying that. It's just not formatted. Whatever. So it would show the file here, images, whatever. It gives them free reign essentially of the text box to submit whatever they can put in it, essentially. So text entry is kind of the wider view if you want to give students some sort of a latitude of the medium in which they're submitting. Text entry is a great option there. Website URL, they're required to submit a web address. So if you are asking for a article link from students for what they're going to do their final paper on, website URL, they have to submit a functional website URL or else it won't let them submit. Media recordings, same thing. It just gives them the ability to upload either user media. Well, it just gives them user media. They just get this icon, but larger that they click on, and they just have the ability to upload some sort of a media file. Student annotation, the great example for this is like a elementary or middle school, those like old grammar or find the issue things where you had to go through and mark it. And it would be like at the end, it'd be like, read all the directions first, stand up, sit down, blah, blah, all that. You upload a file that students see, and then students use the Canvas annotation tool, markers, highlighters, the little carets where you can put comments. They use those tools to annotate it, a sample, peer review, things like that. But you upload one file that all students see, they all see the same file. And then file upload, that is just, they are only able to upload a file. And with that, you do have the ability to restrict file types. So to prevent students from doing the, I submitted my document, but I used an inaccessible file type that no one knows how to use outside of, Uzbekistan because it's a local Uzbekistan file type. So it gives me a couple hours until my instructor grades my assignment, sees it doesn't work, emails me and says, hey, your file's not working. So then I have those 3 hours to actually finish my essay. This prevents that because you can say, I am only allowing, you can see right here, for example, only doc files, Excel files, and text files. Only those. It is important, just make sure you're separating them with just a comma and no spaces. If it's not formatted correctly, right? Wow. If it's not formatted correctly, it will not allow any submissions at all. So just make sure, just kind of format them, DOC, comma, XL, S, C, XLS, whatever. With, it was a period, not a comma. I'm typing very poorly today. But yeah, so those are your multiple options. Again, you do have the ability to select a few and give students those multiple options. If you're not sure, text entry is usually the best baseline because it gives them the most width without too many options from their view. Submission attempts, if you have the ability to allow limited submissions or unlimited, they're always tracked. They're never overwritten. If a student submits 50 documents, you will have a drop down in SpeedGrader showing those 50 submissions time-stamped, September 4th, 904, 905, 907, 908. You'll have all of those. They'll never overwrite. So allowing students unlimited submissions is a great way to prevent those like Friday at 4:59 p.m. Oh my gosh, I can't submit. My internet's down, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I submitted the wrong file, things like that. They have a couple tries. You'll always be able to see them. And a lot of instructors will just do limited and 2 baseline. They won't tell students, they should just be submitting one file, but if they have an issue, they'll be able to submit another one. Plagiarism review, you can automatically enable Turnitin to be reviewing student files as they are submitted. It is a truncated list of options. If you do want the full suite of Turnitin tools to review student papers, you will have to go to Turnitin.com and use their in-house site, whatever they call it. They create this section and they kind of limit it to some of the common ones. So you still have to go to their site for some things and you can't just use it through Canvas. It's super fun. But you have the ability to use Turnitin here. Again, it will automatically review them. And in the gradebook, it will show the little flag of, did they get a green flag? It's less than 4%. The yellow flag between 6 and 12, whatever percent, or the red flag that shows within the gradebook for you and students also when you push those grades. Group assignment is going to be submitting as a group rather than, I guess that's usually what it is. So it's submitting as a group. Essentially, you are grouping students together. Group 1 is covering Shakespeare. Group 2 is covering, totally blanking, The Tempest, whatever. They're each going to be submitting together as a group. With that, you do have the ability to assign grades individually or give everyone the same grade if it's based on teamwork or based on everyone's doing a different part, blah, 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 whatever. The group set, first you will set the group set, then you will set up the assignment. The group set is essentially, this is, project groups, whatever. And group one has John Smith, Jane Smith, and Luke Skywalker, whoever. You set those up first in people, and then we attach it here. Again, we'll cover that a little bit deeper in the specific assignments training session we have. Peer reviews, just as they sound, are peer reviews. Essentially, once students submit, you will go through either manually or automatically and manually assign student A is reviewing student B, student C is reviewing student D, and so on. Automatically, you just pick, everyone gets one student to review and they're assigned at X date. So another thing to keep in mind, if students do not submit to the peer review assignment before it's due, they do not qualify to receive another student's submission to review. So they have to give one to get one kind of thing. So this is the date at which those are assigned. So essentially the date by which students need to submit. Peer reviews appear anonymously. They appear anonymously. They won't put a external name on the user of the submission that is being peer reviewed. However, if the student has put their name in the file that they submitted, Canvas can't remove their name from the file. So if you're going to be doing any sort of peer reviewing, excuse me, just remind students to not put their name in the file. Their submission will always be tracked. It will always be associated with their account. It won't get lost anywhere. But yeah, just if you're doing anonymous, just make sure that students don't put their names in it. Moderated grading, if you have multiple TAs within your course, if it's a large course, this allows the TAs to give a tentative grade to students for an assignment before you go into a moderated grading view tool, essentially, and view those grades that they entered before finalizing them and pushing them out to students. So it just gives you kind of a little bit more control over TAs that are doing grading for your course or other instructors. Anonymous grading, just as it sounds, you cannot view the student names. Same thing for peer reviews. Students need to not put their names in the document they're submitting, but it will still track for who is submitting the item. So lastly, I mentioned the assign access, the assign to function. We saw it in the pages tool, not super functional within the pages tool over here. However, in the assignments tool, this dictates when students can see the assignment, when they can submit to it, how long they can, things like that. So the due date is very isolated, as any submission after the due date is marked at late. Students can still submit after the due date if there's just a due date, but it will just get a big red late stamp. So when you go into SpeedGrader, you will see the big red late stamp. You'll see the date and time that they submitted, notating it was late, and then it's up to you. It's pretty much just that big stamp on it. The available from and until dates are more of a hard date, essentially. Available from is the date it becomes available. Students cannot access or submit it before that date. They can just see the title and the information, when it's going to be available, how many points it's worth. And the until date is the opposite. Students cannot submit after this date. Even if, the scenario that is super useful for this is, again, I kind of mentioned earlier, the Friday night assignment. You would like the assignment, you want students to submit by next Friday at 5 p.m. It's available from Monday at 12 a.m. We can also set it to be available until Friday at 5 p.m., but that means at 5:01 p.m., no more students can submit. If someone had an internet issue, whatever, they cannot submit late. They physically cannot. They have to email you. You have to go in, manually reopen the assignment for them to submit. However, what we can do, we can set the until date as Sunday at whatever, 11 p.m. So this means students still have the ability to submit after the due date. They can still get in, submit, then most likely email you, hey, this is what happened, that kind of thing. But you don't need to be actively monitoring it to be able to reopen it, let students submit, see, who just emailed you and didn't have it ready. Did the student email you with their submission attached, or did they just email you and be like, oh, my computer's not working? That kind of thing. Students have the ability to submit the entire weekend. All those submissions will be logged, time-stamped, date-stamped, marked as late, and then whatever, Monday morning, Sunday afternoon, whenever you feel like it, you can go in and check them, review them, decide, do they get a deduction or not? It's up to you. So a fantastic tool here for controlling the access to assignments. And with that, we can also create it on a granular level, on a student by student level. So again, say a student's sick, they need to go back in. You don't want to reopen it for everyone. You just want to reopen it for that student. What we do is we click the plus assign to here section button down at the bottom. And we have an additional assign to section here where we can, again, if I had students in my course, I would have individual students listed here and I can click on just Luke Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker gets this specific window within which he can access the assignment, submit it, and it's just that student. The one thing to keep in mind is even if students have submitted, you never want to delete the everyone and then create it for one student. That will remove those students' submissions, grades, anything like that. We always want to add additional. So we can add as many as we want here. I've seen, you have to fill it out, but I've seen teachers have one for each individual student. But you just want to always remember to never delete any, just add more or edit the dates that allow them to see something until a certain date. In the vast majority of cases, though, if you do accidentally remove it, assign it to someone, save it, we can usually recover it, but not something to mess around with because it's great in submissions. Sorry, we are over on time by a bunch. Yes, so that is everything I wanted to cover in the basics. We got the course published. We went through the home, the assignments, the announcements, and the syllabus page. Those are kind of all the basics you want to get set up. And let's see. Oh, we do have a question in the chat. Oh, it was just someone who had to leave. Awesome. So we are over on time, but I don't have anything after this. So do we have any questions? I know that was a lot of information all at once. And again, yes, we will be doing more deeper dive sessions into some of, assignments, quizzes, things like that. The basics of quizzes, though, real quick, if we only got 2 seconds here. If you click plus quiz, again, we have new and classic quizzes. If we select classic quizzes, which I usually recommend, we will see, again, a very familiar page here where we have the title. This is, again, going to be just the, this quiz covers chapter 4. This isn't where we're putting our questions. We have some details down here, but up at the top, we do have the questions tab up here where we create our individual questions, multiple choice, fill in the blank, true, false, things like that. Update question and then save down at the bottom. And again, yes, we will have an entire quizzes training where we'll go through all this. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of everything in Canvas. And yeah, any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Give us an email at canvas@american.edu and we'll help you out anytime. Thanks so much. Have a great day.